So the aim of this video is just to make a cowboy that looks like some of these, or parts of these. You can mix them up. Okay, we're going to start off by taking some measurements of what we're going to make, which is the cowboy. We'll do the whole body and head this time. So there's a block of basswood which measures 2 inches 5 centimeters, and to the tip of his hat you're looking at measuring 6 1/4 inches or 16.5 centimeters of the block. It doesn't have to be exactly that. This one's slightly smaller, which we'll take more measurements from again now. That one from top to bottom is 15 centimeters 6 inches. I just cut the block in half to make one slightly bigger than the other, just to have two different, slightly different bodies at the end as results. So you can see where one is bigger than the other. The block of wood to be like that originally, therefore the more you move that, the shorter one you'd get one side and the taller one you'd get the other. That way then the cowboys don't all look the same. Okay, so we'll go for reference on this block of wood. So from his hat down to underneath the brim is 2.5 centimeters. From down to the bottom, centre of his neck is just over 6.5 centimeters, and then his belly, sort of 9 centimeters that side, giving a little bit of straightness there. And then you've got 10 centimeters at the bottom of the belly. And going upwards, I've left myself 1.5 centimeters at the bottom for the boots or shoes, whatever. And at the back end, where his legs start to come up, that's 2.5 centimeters up that way. And from the back of the hat down to the whole length, it's just over 14 centimeters. And again to the top of his hat, is top part of the rim of his hat is 2.5 centimeters, and the bottom of his hat is 3.5 centimeters. The back of his neck is coming in at just over 5, between 5 and 5.5 centimeters, and the back end of his body, from the back of the hat down, is measuring 6 centimeters. And then you've got 10.5 centimeters is the back of where his backside's going to be. Okay, so that's that side. And then you can repeat the same pencil mark this side when you're ready, just to sort of keep it balanced as you're carving it out. It doesn't have to be perfect, you don't even have to mark it. You can just keep it going down and just measure it as you go. Other measurements you might want, going to go in from the nose about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters from the flat of the block. Inside the neck, let's see how we're going to measure that. So using the flats as a guide again, you go in about 1 centimeter into the front of his neck there, and the bottom of his feet. Start off with 2 centimeters out there. Going back along his shoes, you will take it back a bit further than that in the end, depending on whether you want the leg of the cowboy straighter, or whether you want his legs really going back, and then sort of take the front of his legs up that way, so you've got his knees bending back a little, etc. In this one, I'm going to have his arms coming down from his shoulders down to the back here. So his hands will be around this area, and his arm will go up in this direction. So you have his belt more or less here. Start off with wider It's always better to have a wider belt to start with. You can always make it smaller, but you can't make it bigger. You'll end up going into the block more just to get that rid of that narrow strip that you've made. Okay. So that's the sort of step you're going to get for the block. I did originally get a stencil. I marked it out. And again, just for reference, you can pause the video. I leave this in the centre here. And you'll be able to get all the markings off that as well. So I'll give you 2 seconds there. And then I'll do the same this direction for you. Okay. Once you've done that, out of the block that was originally like this, you end up carving it out. So you get that going the same there. What I've done on this one is I've kept the head and the shoulders the same height, and then I've dropped the whole body down to the bottom, so his feet will be the same. You'll just have a longer or elongated body, so you can make him a bit slimmer on the legs, or a bit of a longer body maybe. Longer legs, I mean, longer legs or longer body, whichever way you want to go, or just generally just split them again just to make them just taller. Okay, so I'll keep this block now as a reference. How I go, what I tend to do is I'll make maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 of these, or in this case 10 I've made, and then I'll start with these 2. I'll take this block down a step or 2 to see where I'm going, and if I think yes, this is going great, then I'll make another block and take that 1 step further again. That way then, as you're making them, you can decide whether you want to put the arms down the sides or whether you left enough room. So if you haven't left enough room at the back here and you've just chunked it out by mistake and you wanted the arms coming down the back, you can then change your mind and put the arms down the front. It just means as you make more, you can alter the bodies as you go along. Okay, so there's that, put to one side. We'll go to the next stage. Okay, we can start off by getting some of this wood off here. There's no hurry, just take your time. The aim here is try and take all of these sharp corners off to start with, just to make it a little bit easier in your hands to hold. It does definitely make a difference. It all takes shape soon enough. Don't forget at the back here, on this one in particular, if you're going to copy this, his hands are going to be back here. So you don't want to be taking anything off that area for a while yet. just about all the corners rounded off a little bit. I consider myself still being very much a beginner, and I think anything that's going to make life a little bit easier for me, I'm going to follow that. So getting all that sharpness off there certainly allows me to use the block wood a little bit longer. My hands don't get fatigued, get hurt. So then again, you can see where this hat brim is coming down here, and that then goes straight up to the top, underneath the top there. So that brim comes around, goes up there. That's the brim of the hat there. That's going to be the top of his shoulders, bottom of his neck. This is the point where his nose is going to come in. His chin is down here. You don't have to measure these exact, just you know where the arm's going to be just roughly, just take everything else rounded off for now. I mean, the shoulders are going to be a lot lower in the end. Little by little. There's absolutely no need to rush anything. Just enjoy what you're doing. These blocks of wood were from a while back. I bought them when they were discounted in the UK. They were Joe Paul's. Normally only ship into America, but they did an offer on Amazon at one point. I haven't seen this since. I thought I would try them. They are quite a bit softer than our normal blocks of 2x2 we get in the UK. I know, before we start going on about blocks of wood and how hard they can be, at the end of the day, the block of wood is a bit harder than it is where it is. The upside of it is going to be, it's going to hold its edges that little bit better if it block of wood goes through a friend of yours when you finish doing a cowboy or whatever it might be. Children in the family or anything like that drop the wood or anything like that, it's not going to be so easy to chip or mark or dent a little, especially when it comes to noses and edges coming off. And they can come off quite easily. So again, this whole block, that's not this piece, it's the other, they came in as a 12-inch piece. And the other 12-inch piece has got a much bigger one of those from the branch or whatever it is. It's going through it. Hopefully it's not going to be further in there. So the back of this will be hollowed out a little bit now as I go along. So let's see what surprise we get here. This definitely doesn't carve very well. It tends to splinter off. You can see it happening there now. just going to disappear. That's good news. The other one is definitely 3 times the size of that. But I'll just choose the block of wood on the other one to be something that's going to hollow out where that mark is on the wood, so I don't just throw the piece of wood or chuck it in the bonfire, barbecue, whatever. It's definitely splintering a lot more. But there, let's go a bit slower when that happens. So I've taken a little bit off the back again where his arms are going to come down. Not sure I'm going to do his feet yet. I might decide a little bit later on whether I'm going to have both the feet facing the front, like that cowboy there, or whether I'm going to face one of the legs in and up and over the foot. So there's the idea. Getting his arms behind the back. This part I'm going to leave. Just going to take a tiny bit off there, so I know what I am. But I'm definitely going to use the bandsaw. Maybe not. If I use the bandsaw, it means that I'm going to go up to the centre. It's not so easy. It's a bit trickier to get your legs twisted with your feet over one over the other. You'd have to go into the bandsaw from a certain direction rather than going straight, and then you've got problems then trying to cut out behind it. So we'll come back to that again. All of this is going to have to come down. So, doesn't look like a lot, but surprising how much shape that's starting to take. You might want to leave a little bit in the centre of this, not just yet, but you don't want to go too deep in the centre because this is all going to be rounded off in the end. So all this will come off here. But if you're going to have his ears, say back there somewhere, you're still going to need to leave a little bit if you wanted to have sideburns for his ears there. So when you consider when you're carving this down here now, if you want to go hell for leather and keep on chunking it down and down and down, try and remember to leave the height there, because the brim of the hat by here will be still existing. This part here, the centre, you won't be touching this at all. That part will stay there, but the circle will be coming around from the sort of corner there round to the centres there. But the centres are not centre of the block, you need to leave like a centimetre or so, half an inch, each side of that centre of that circle. So the circle comes around to there, and right at the very end you'll sort of trim that a little, but that will be right at the end when you're ready to do that. So there's the centre, so I would leave as much as that each side. It's probably just under a centimetre. No, nigh on centimetre. So there's the centre again. So you won't be touching that part of the hat at all. Again, somewhere around there's the centre. Something like that. Okay. So, taking some more off underneath the hat here to get some depth down to what would be the next layer. With that, will be the ear. Come back in there with a knife. Probably easier there as well with the knife, actually. You can take this in all of the way around, like that, and so on. I won't bore you with all of that, but you need to get in there slowly, not like I just did. You'll end up splitting the wood down here if you're not careful. Take your time. There we go. This hat will be around, see where the marks are, so just go to those for now, and then you can round the end bits there off closer towards the end when you're actually going into the detail. So keep on going around doing squares at the top, cutting in underneath the hat, and then we'll come back then and start digging in around the sides here and the back of the arms. Cut through on his legs by here, and I'll get through there with a bandsaw. So I simply drill a hole through there first and then take that out then with a bandsaw. Okay, so we've gone through with the bandsaw down here now and taken out the centre, like I said, put a drill bit to the centre there, and then just cut the bandsaw each direction to take that wedge then out from the bottom there. And then we can carry on then with the rest of the carving. So we can take this head down now by keeping the nose but working back to where the ears would be, somewhere back here, roughly. Only roughly. So I'll take those corners off now completely. And get the head down underneath that hat. slowly working all the way around. And we will get narrower again later on, but just for now, the purpose is just to get more wood off the block, make it easier to handle and everything as well. So his back and his arms by here, they're going to be coming down into this sort of area for his hand. So we definitely don't want to touch that. But what we will want is this sort of side of his body here being exposed in that sort of direction to go through, catch it for the camera, and then it'll come out at the back. So you still need the arm in here with a bit of width there, because you are going to round this down. So only roughly mark it again, coming down and around there somewhere. Maybe taking some of the wood off, but not all of it. But again, just getting it down to something of the shape and then defining it later on again. So I'm going to go at this one with a gouge. Just for making life easier on my fingers. I think that's going to tell me that I'm going the wrong way in a second. We'll see it split if I am. This is where you've got to be careful with your hand, that you don't try that and then overdo it into your hand. So sort of know where you are here, use your thumb against the edge, and then just gradually go in. You can see now, that's what it's saying, put the split in. So this is the wrong direction for this. The grain wants me to go the other way, but because I'm taking quite a bit out, I'm not too bothered with splitting for now. I'll come back the other way and smooth that out then towards the end. Again, just being careful I don't catch my hand going the other way. Limit my movement. Get that tape a little bit. Okay, so this is the arm I was saying about that's going to come through to here. So again, you need to take more out to this side as well. Make sure you don't go past that pencil line with the digging out. How deep am I going there? I can hear people asking already. Oh, probably about 6-7 millimeters there, which is about 1/4 inch, I believe, is it? Yeah, something like that. Less than 1/4 inch, maybe. Okay, so that's that there. Then just keep on taking more off until you round the front of this off. Again, you need to get it to look something like that. So this arm will go right back in the end. One of the reasons why I haven't been talking in the previous videos is the noises from outside, such as children playing. That's what they're supposed to do. Just be a bit limited. My recordings, they're actually out there now, but I bought a better microphone. But I think sometimes that's picking up more noise. Such as, I don't know if you can hear the silence, but my analog clock. Tick, 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 if I stay still. Anyway, I'm not sure if the camera does pick that up, so I'll leave that in the video and see if you can hear it or not. Let me know in the comments below, as they say. It's not bothering me, but let me know if it bothers you. I'll pull a battery out every time I do recording if I do. Or buy a digital clock. I don't really know why I've got it, to be honest. Normally look at my watch, my time. Okay, so the shape of that's come around a little bit now, you can see. It's in a very rough state. You see all the grain by here and everything, but there's still more to come off. There's plenty of time to tidy all that up. Right now, just interested in getting more of this wood out. Especially to get the depth of these arms down, so I can possibly get maybe a drill going right through, starting off the small drill bit and getting my centre where I'm going through from the front of the body to the back of the body. I sometimes find that quite useful, and then I can work around that and know where my arm is going to be thinned out, etc. So I'll explain that better later in the video, but in short, if I drill through, making sure I leave a good 7-8 millimeters for the arm there, for the width of his inside of his arm, and then maybe drill from there through, and again leaving 7-8 millimeters around here for the width of his arm coming down, but drill maybe through here, and then get that through there. I will know then where I am working with the width of the arm. It'll all come and be more explanatory as time goes by now. As I'm getting further into this wood, it seems to be getting a little bit softer. Not that I'm going to say anything about softness of woods in this, but you will definitely get some that are different to others if I haven't already mentioned it in this video. I need to also go through is underneath the arm by here. In the corner of my eye I can see a little dog named Kenzel looking at me, twisting her head because she knows it's time for her food. 4:30 daily is her food time, and it's 4:35 now, and she's got no watch on. Funny dog. Maybe I'll get her in a video one day. She sometimes sits on the table, you heard me, and just watches me, or watches her other dog friends on YouTube. Got a few channels that she seems to enjoy. Some dogs don't tend to watch things on the telly, but this one, she loves watching the telly. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a break for a minute and go and give this dog a food. As you can see now, it's starting to expose a bit more, or where the hand will be sitting on the jeans, or maybe behind the leg, depending whether you want to take the leg all the way this far forward now and put a kink back towards his backside, or if you want to sit in on the jeans, you can make the leg go up more that direction, have his hands sort of sitting or by his pockets, or hanging half in, half out of the pocket maybe. But you have to have the depth of it here for it to be sitting outside of the pockets. So a little bit more coming up here at the bottom. So we're getting there now. So now it seems it might be easier just to sort of flatten things out a little bit with the knife. So you get a gist of where everything is going. Everything's fine there. What I want that. Again, I'm nowhere near making it perfectly smooth or perfectly straight. I think I'm just still taking out in chunks to get to a roughed out stage. Grain wants to go one way and I'm trying to go the other, so back to the gouge on this occasion. Even the body shape out just a little bit. I don't care whether it's perfect or not, as I said. Just somewhere near close enough is okay with me. I'm not that fussy yet. As I keep saying, I'm just still a beginner. I'll get fussier as time goes by, I'm sure. Maybe I'll pick up some of the old carvings and think, oh my goodness, need to change that. So as you can see, getting a bit further inside these bodies sides here now. There's nowhere near coming through yet, but time to start rounding the arm off a little bit here and there as well. And in doing so, it'll expose more of the area of where you're going to want the hole going through. And again, just by rounding just a little bit off there, you can see that this is nowhere near deep enough yet. So go back to the gouge for that, just for a couple of seconds. Get that a little bit deeper in there. The wood's not difficult to work with, it's just that I get gout in this finger, so sometimes it's a bit hard to hold the knife properly, or in this case the chisel. So cack-handed, as they say. Can't quite get what I want to be. There we go, but it's closer. And a little step closer all the time. Right, that's getting better. Still got lots to come off everywhere up here. Once you start digging in for the year, or sideburns you put on the side there, if you do them, mainly it's years, most people do, you'll then get a different depth of where the face comes into the centre, because you'll have the depth of the ear protruding out, just sort of exaggerated a bit compared to reality of what they would be. Okay. So we got through the legs there. And the body's a bit rounder. Okay. So we're down a little bit now on this face. And getting better with the depth of the back here. Where's my glove? Don't forget to wear your glove, people. Mistakes happen, slips happen. So, as you get further and further down here, you'll get nearer and nearer to where you want to be, to get through from one side to the other, as we mentioned a few times now. Keep on taking that out. Try and go down and in there like that before you come up. If you're going to use a gouge, you can do it with a knife. You just need to keep on making V cuts all the way in until you eventually get there. It's a little bit more tedious, but definitely can be done. Until you get right down to the bottom. right down and then pull the gouge forward. So you can see the depths are coming. Almost there to what I would like to be. There we go. Maybe a little bit more here. I'm definitely getting close. It's still a long way off there, but I'm getting to the point now I'm considering using the drill bit to go through. So I'm going to round these arms off a little bit. His elbow and shoulder definitely wouldn't be all the way up here. It's probably going to come down to more like that sort of angle. So I take a little bit off that. Could have a high shoulder there if you wanted to, but that's definitely not the height it would be. Again, just taking a bit off, just getting that shape nearer to where you want to be. Better take a little bit off at a time and keep the wood on there. You can't put it back on once you've taken it off. So easy goes, as they say. So what you could do is get a V-tool, again, or a knife. Keep going down in there with the knife if you wanted to. Just a little bit easier with these gouges and V-tools. Most I like doing just the knife only. Spending my time just sitting there outside or watching a bit of YouTube in the evening while I'm doing some whittling away with the knife only. Just push you a bit quicker with a set of gouges and V-tools, etc. So you can see now you're getting a little bit extra depth there going in. So it's a lot further in. I'm definitely considering using the drill bit there now at that point. So to make this hole going through here, you're looking at the angle coming through. What's the best way for the angle for the camera? Probably something like that, going through at that angle to meet the back here. So this is definitely going to be somewhere around here where you're going to be drilling through, and you're looking to come round and out here somewhere. Again, if you look at this cowboy, you see what I'm saying about how it comes through. You sort of got a 45-degree angle to where the block was to get him through there. So if I line that up a little and then aim for the back where that hole is. Best angle I can get you in the camera and get through that. And you can see, not far off, pretty much spot on. Gosh, that was a good guess. So there you're through now. So you will now work around the side of the body there at the back, which you'll go much deeper in here as well, and start to take a bit of this wood off just from this edge here, round in this arm as you go, and same with that side. So I'll keep on drilling that out sometimes just to sort of decide where I want to go a bit further. And in this case you can just take your time with the drill, but you will snap it otherwise. Just sort of lean it down a little bit, maybe take it up a little bit. You're making that a little bit elongated down at the back. Or if you've got a rasp drill bit, you could just put it through there and just let it take the wood and work its way down. Or alternatively, if you've got little gouges, you can still take them out to the round gouges until you get through. Okay, so I'm going to put this drill away. Well, let's get this other side done. You could do a second hole as well if you wanted to. And then just join them up, just like that. That's taking out a little bit more wood, a little bit quicker for you. Not exactly carving, but it definitely helps you get through that wood there. And then you can just tidy those up a little bit with a knife or a small gouge. Rounding off this arm, as it said earlier on. So the arm will start taking a bit more shape now, and you'll know where to go to make the length of the arm that you actually finally decide on, whether you want to come all the way down here or not, or whether you just want to come in with the elbow and tuck his hands into his pockets, in which case you could take all this wood off here and then just have his hands literally up there somewhere going into the jeans of his pocket, and he could also slice a bit more off the top of this so his hands tucking into his pocket. You could do both sides, just one side. I might do one of each on this one now, maybe, see how it goes. But yeah, you need to keep on going through now with the gouge till all that is tidied up. That can take you a good few minutes to get that done. So I'm going to leave that off camera and come back to that at another point once it's done. See if you're watching the boring bits of just scraping away bit by bit, going through, but you can kind of get the idea there. It certainly looks a bit ugly at the start, but all will work out in the end. His body will come further down because it'll look like his back is like half an inch lower than that at the end anyway. Again, if I show you on the other one, you can see how much further down his arms are to where his body is down, and the body comes through from the side there. Okay. Especially the lower part of it, it helps you sort of just have the cuff of a hat, of a shirt or something down at the bottom here. So imagine that being a cuff of a shirt, or if this was his glove, it'd be the back end of his glove up there, and then you've only literally got a thin slither here touching the body. I suppose even if you wanted to, you could slice through there with a bandsaw as well, right the way through at the right angle. I think it'd be a little bit difficult with a saw like that, but you could slice it bit by bit with a knife. Again, that's a little bit difficult, but micro tools, you certainly could get it through there, no problem at all. So, once you've gotten through the drill, once or twice though, just giving it a bit of a wiggle up carefully so you don't break the drill bit. You just clean up all around the inside of this. Starting to round up around the arms and things as well at the same time. Getting rid of any of that marks that's come from the drill. All I'm doing at this point is just trying to tidy it up. I'm trying to gain any depth anywhere or anything really. You can see how that's opening up that side. Round off its arm a little bit. Tidying up as you go along, tidying that through there. A little bit of patience with this, but it comes together quite nicely in the end. Just little slithers here and there. As I said, just taking off only the marks that's come from the drill. We'll refine the armpits or depths and everything in a second when we know how clean the piece of wood it is. Again, all of this can be done with the knife. Just takes a little bit more time. Just by taking little V-cuts out at a time, twisting the knife a little bit, not to break the tip. And if you've got a more flexible knife, then all the better. Find that some knives are good at doing it, and then you'll have other knives then just the shape of the knife itself and the blade just isn't so suitable. Alright, if you've got lucky enough to have a couple of knives, just give them a go. You might find one like this one from Gare. It's nice. It's a nice little blade that bend a little bit but not too much, and allows you to sort of curl the blade a little bit. Just a little bit is enough to get a bit of that rounding going on. Just take little curls out at a time. Eventually it'll come all good. Pretty much all gone there now. Of course you could use a bit of sandpaper if you want to, a bit of 60 grit, 80 grit, something around that area, and then maybe just put another 200 or 160 on it. Try and get away Get it all smooth if you wanted to, but you still got a lot of cutting away to do yet. Personally, I wouldn't bother with the sandpaper just yet, unless you're struggling with the knife to get through in these little areas where you can't sort of curl the knife a little bit like I'm doing there to get rid of the marks from the drill. Gives pretty good result. Got to go the direction of the grain, of course. If the grain is coming down, coming this way, stage down like my fingers are there, you have to slice these. So if the wood is going the other way, then all you're going to do is dig in each time. So you go this way, taking the curl off. If I try and go that way, it's going to do straight away what it's done there, and it's just going to dig in and make it worse. So down with the grain one way. Then when you reach the bottom there, you'll have to go the other way, here. The bottom section there, it's always going to be the one that's a bit more tricky. We just need to leave that bit for now, and come back with it at a later date when you've refined the rest of the body off a little bit. Same with this side. To the bottom, that way. And the bottom that way. Happy with that. So there we got it through. I thought I'd give it a bit of a recap. Well, he's gone through each side of the arm, back of the arms there, and from the front. And you know, through the legs, and we can start working on the next piece. Don't forget, you still need to round these arms off and decide where you're going to put the elbows. So again, whether you're just going to put the hand by here maybe, going into the pocket, that would be inside the trousers by here, in which case all of this would come off. Or definitely not to remove too much there. You could leave his hand on the side here and have his like thumb over there, and then his fingers down by here. Entirely up to you at this point. Even the trousers, you could leave the flare of the trousers, just cut it back a little bit more and swoop that back down here. Or you can just go through, make these legs a lot thinner again, and then come up to the body and have skinny legs. Again, we will come underneath here and remove this section here. So that will define where that back end of the hands will be, because your hands are only thin compared to your arm. So the little bit of this will come, so they'll come off. And more of this will also come off here. Just need to decide at this point what you're doing with the hands and the elbows. The elbow will be coming up somewhere along there, I would imagine, with today, with mine. And the back of the arm will more than likely cut back to there, so you can round all that off. And the same then the other side. So that's a bit of a recap so far, and where we're at. So next, moving on, I would like to try and get a bit more definition of where these ears are going to go. So making sure you keep the block wider for the ear at this point, rather than making it thin. So if you draw just a little thin ear like that, you're not going to have much detail on there. So start off with a bigger ear, and then you can sort of trim the back corners off around here, have that C shape of the ear. But for now, let's just cut everything out from by here, and a little bit around the back of it as well. So where that centre line still is, I'm going to go a little bit to one side of it in the front and a little bit more to the back. So a little bit more on the front, that's right. And then down to here for now, and a bit more of it at the back end there. Okay. So to start this off, let's cut where that ear here is going to be. I'm looking at the front because the nose will come down now in a second as well. Just keep the other side of that line. Go in and deep. You can go in the second time if you want, but a little bit deeper this time. Keep it in the same groove though. Make sure that you've got a stop cut in there and where you're going to go as well. Again, try and keep it in the same groove. And then cut that out. If you can do it in one, all the better. If the arms or hands like mine aren't strong enough, then you might have to go in a second time. What tends to happen, which might happen this time now, I more or less got that out in one go. Well, when I say one go, I mean I haven't left sort of tram lines inside there. I'll give you a closer look now. It's just the one line straight in each side of it. And then you can remove a bit more depth from by here by sort of making it flatter to the side, so you've got depth of the ear. And then when you do the nose, you'll be able to do the same thing there and then round that off as well. In there, nice and deep. Come down past the ear line a bit. Go in the corner. Use the table if you need to. Just push down a little bit, not too hard. And then just cut that out from the corner. So you've got a nice clean cut there. Tiny bit actually left in the corner. There we go. It's out. So again, you've got definition there of the depth of the ear. To the bottom. Now you're not going to be able to do that and expect to go really deep. You're going across the grain, no matter how soft or hard your wood is. Again, I'm not that strong. My hand's got gouts, particularly this finger here. I'm not expecting to go right down, but if you put a stop cut into that, halfway down to it, removing that wood, you'll get a bit deeper because the thickness of the blade is obviously narrower at the point than here, so you're not forcing it into wood where there's no space for it to fit. So keeping your stop cut in there, and then you've got the depth there then as well. And then just repeat the same thing the other side, in as deep as you can go safely, and not something you're going to slide away on. Try and go in the second time, the same groove. There's the table. Go down in the corner. Now again, if your hands really aren't that strong, what I have done is go to the corner and just make a chip cut in the corner there. That just eases off the amount of wood that you've got to take off. And again, looking at the tip of your knife, just follow that mark down there and just take a slither off. You don't even have to make it go right through. If you're a millimetre to this side of the line, it'll just chip off anyway. Then come to the bottom bit, make a cut. see a bit more of the tramp lines this side, depending on which handed you are. Actually, it's better than I thought. See a bit from the herb there where I went in the chip cut in the corner, but that's fine. Back of the earth, same thing. In, slide it down carefully. Control into the corner. Again, use the table if you need to. And take that cut out. Then you can make extra depth just by taking off a bit of the wood to the side here. And then that gives you the depth of the back of the ear there. Again, let's go to the bottom of this ear. There's quite a bit up there. Again, there's no way am I going to expect to get right the way through that with that thickness of a blade. So, do a little bit of mark there. Take that corner off. Do another bit of a mark. Take that corner off. If you're worried about the blades going in that way and leaving lines along here, who's going to see the line eventually when it's painted or oiled up underneath there? Okay, so they're not going to see it, but what you could do is start the ear further out here, take the chip cuts down until you're left with that depth, and I'll show you now what I would do at the end. I'll go down as far as I can here. For a second. Let's have a look at how much of a mark have I left so far. You can see there's a few lines there. Okay. All you've got to do is just take another millimetre further back and then just slice it out that way. All gone. Completely gone. Still need to go down a little bit further. So when you're doing that, like I said, start with the ear further down, but you can always take more off. So cut down a bit, slice in, slice down, cut in until you get to the end. If you've got lines here, just leave the last millimetre or so and then slice down that way to get rid of them. Okay. So I need to go down a bit further this side. So there we got 2 ears, and it's slightly at a different angle, so let's correct that for now. And then we can go underneath the ear to the bottom of the head to give a bit more shape to that. Bottom of the head and the top of the shoulder. Same this side. I know my knife is still sharp. I know that I'm going against the grain, so it looks like if the knife's not really sharp, it's very sharp. I can see that it's sharp because it's not leaving any trails as I slice down that way. There's no lines left on there, chipped out to the blade. So I can even take a bit more of that off. And a little bit more. There we go. Front of his ears will be closer to the head once it's done, so the ear will be sticking out, sort of exaggerated, but like that. So you'll be able to see the back of the ear from here. And the front of the ear will meet the actual face head itself, part of the face and the head. I need to take a lot more of this off here. So now we've got the arms down to pretty much of a roughed out state that we want it in. We've got the ears defined on the side and they come in underneath the hat slightly. The back of the head still has a little bit of work, and there's not going to be a lot of work left to do on that. You might draw a line somewhere along here and have sort of hair coming down the back end here. If you wanted to, you could have just had the hat come in further down, just change the angle from that to this. And the top of the hat then would be sort of going up there. So that top would be with the same level as the brim of the hat, if that makes sense. Just change the hat skewed slightly and the hat brim could be all the way down there. But we'll carve some nice little pieces of hair out at the bottom there, just with some basic zigzags later on. Still needs rounding up a little bit each side here, but I'll come to that again at the end. Let's work on making sure now that we've got the nose defined a little bit. Then this then will be the underneath the chin and the mouth area. So that's where we've chosen to put the nose. And this will be the brow of his head. Carefully don't go too much further in here, but otherwise the hat will be sitting on top of the head itself rather than in the head itself. Once you take this down a little bit more on the brim, yeah, it'll look a bit more effective as well. But again, I tend not to come down too far with the brim of the hat, because if you get this any narrower, the chips start coming off from the edge, especially if you're going to sort of let kids play with them a bit or anything like that, or if you want to hand it down over the years and expect it to last. The brim of the hat will just end up coming down, but with chips on it, I mean, you could always throughout the years, or the people in the future will sort of scrape a bit more off the top there with the knife. If you're leaving the hat brim going up like that, which you can still do here, or sometimes you just come just straight round with the hat itself. So yeah, let's get to this nose. Similar to what we did to the ears. Let's create the sides by here. Now then, rather than just go in straight to that at a 90-degree angle, as it were, I'm going to slightly turn the knife. I'll exaggerate it, but turn the knife slightly like that and come down that way, leaving this part of the nose as the centre here. If I use the tip of the knife, eventually that will be quite narrow and this will be the widest part. So basically go in like that. Now again, as you get better at it, then this becomes easier to do, but I'm still a novice beginner, so I'm not going to get this perfect. And if you're a beginner, don't expect that. You will get there in the end though, I'm sure. Okay, so just make a line down, control it, don't go too heavy. I'm going as heavy as I want there, and then just come in at a slight angle, take that chip out. So it's only a slight angle, it's not straight in, it's at an angle, and it's at an angle slightly like that as well. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again, slightly in and at the angle. So I've turned the blade just to go in a little bit more. I'm just going to move that so I know where I'm going. Take another slice out of there, just gently go in with the knife, and it more or less comes out itself. Okay, can you see what it's doing there to the nose? Let me try and focus that in for you. Oh, a bit wobbly. So let's come in there rather than it be level, yeah. So it's going to need more than that. So I'm going to do that one once more. Don't forget to turn the knife slightly. And that might be enough for now. There's that cut out. Now these are those tram lines we talked about earlier on that you sometimes get. Is that focusing? camera stops shaking. Can you see that there? Just take a little slither of your blade and it'll come out. And even that at this point doesn't matter too much because you're still going to go down further than that. But if you want to try and keep it clean, as they say, as you're going, then by all means do that. And then the next stage will be, you can do the same thing again, further in at an angle at the top from this line now to the centre there, and keeping that knife at an angle as well. There we go. So we will eventually take it further down, but for now let's just repeat that on the other side. Knife in at a slight angle. I haven't gone too far in, just a couple of millimeters. I'm going to turn it and just go in as far as I think I've gone on the depth. I can tell that that's not going to pop out, because I didn't quite go as deep as that. So I'll go in again at a slight angle. Oh. And then go in from the side and pull it back out. And then again, I'm going to need that slight angle from here up to there in the end, keeping the blade twisted as well. So you've got the nose, just a bit of a definition there of the angles that you're sort of starting to look for. Eventually you will come down here and the nose will go narrower like that. Now we need to get the bottom of the nose done here. So again, in with the knife. Slice it a little bit if you can. Gives you helps you get a little bit deeper, then go straight across. And once you get into this stage, just be very careful that if your knife is very sharp and the wood is soft, if you go in too hard here, you could slice that nose off. So just shake it back and forward, give it a bit of a slice, and just check if it's ready to come out. There we go. Okay, now you can go further up again than that, for sure. So in again, get a bit of a slice action, go in there, just into where the nose is. Okay, so there's a basic definition of the nose. It's still going to come up further again, and then you'll still be left down with some space down here then for the mouth itself. Okay, just take it up another notch or two. Just like what you did with the ears, make them bigger to start with, because you can't add the wood back on. Once you've taken it off, it's off. You just have to make do with what you've got, change the characteristic of the body maybe, and work from there. Okay, so now we've got the depth more or less of what the nose is going to be. it's going to be a slight angle off the end there, and the same here. Okay, again at an angle, that direction, as well as 45 degrees to what the bottom was, or maybe 30 degrees, something like that. Okay, again, we still will come in later on and define this nose so it'll come more like that. We'll do it when we're ready to put marks down the side here of the face from what defines the cheek. Okay. Next step we want to do is to get rid of some of this that's on the side here. Take these cheeks down, so we can do that. Aim from the side of this nose to this ear. Until you get like an egg-shaped head. So it's narrow at the top, wider at the bottom. Keep in mind that that neck has got to narrow down. Let's get in nearer to it. So now I'm at the point that there's not really much space left now for me to go from the tip to the ear by ear. But there is this side, so I'll take a little bit more. And there we go, I'm ever so close again then now. There we go. Again, I don't want to go any closer to the inside of that hat, because otherwise it'd look like, again, the head is sitting on above the head rather than the head in the hat, which is a mistake I've done a few times as a beginner, and I'm sure I'll still do plenty more again. So with the eyes, just roughly, they're going to come down a slight angle like that. somewhat, only roughly. Try and get the eyes more or less even both sides. If you twist the head, then you can make one of the eyes higher than the other. There's no reason why you couldn't do a little bit of that now even, but just twist the jaw slightly even. The whole head doesn't have to. You could just smirk and just twist his head. Just sort of get the mouth going up that direction. Anyway, back to this. I'm going to take a bit now out of what would be the cheek here with a slightly wider gouge. Up to that eyebrow. Eye socket, I mean. Gives a bit more depth to his nose there. Then you can go back in and make that eye socket wider. Go. Once you get it to this sort of stage, it's been roughed out, you could transfer that into quite a few different ones. I did mention it earlier in the other video. You can get the hands inside the pockets here, or you can just leave them just outside of the body, like we have on this one here. He's just got his hands on the edge of the back of his pocket, sort of thing. Or again, you could have him sort of at the side of his belt. Holding on. You could do quite a few different things here. You could shape the back in even further. You can get further in on the sides by here if you wanted to. Give more of that area clear. Gives more definition to their arm itself that way. So you can change the ears up at this point, whether you want to make them a bit smaller or more pronounced. Again, the hat, you can either have the hat where it's curved through the insides there. You can go thinner than this, but again, I find that once you get to that point, it starts to chip things like this here, so I don't think people looking at that will worry how thin you managed to get it. If you're more of a professional person, then yeah, you would just get it thinner and thinner and just leave it on a bookcase maybe, or somewhere it's not going to get moved around and play with children, etc. But this is going to come down quite a bit yet. You will come down to that at the end. But as I was saying, it's a pretty good rough out where you're at now at this point. We're now going to try and get underneath this head here, rather than just come round and down. Go underneath with the gouge and get an old knife. It's a little bit easier with a gouge, but you can sort of get in that corner a little further. But you can do it with a knife just by making an undercut like that. Sorry, that's my camera shaking because I'm moving the table. So now you've gone underneath the chin. Do that all the way around. Keep going. Not sure if we can hear that fan in the background. I'm conscious of the noises, but not sure how much that microphone's picking this up until the recording's done, so I'm going to keep going. Let me know in the comments if it's bothering you. I'll make more of a note on it next time. Shouldn't be much of a distraction, but please feel free to let me know. There we go. I've gone down quite a bit there now on his head. We'll come to deciding what we're doing with the body here, whether we're just going to give a scarf on the side of the neck by here, or whether we can just put a shirt down the centre. Decide that after we get a little bit more on this face done. Round a little bit more of this hat down as well. At this point, because it's starting to take a bit more shape all around. It's a little bit rounder. Not going to go any further yet, I'm just going to leave it at that. Big sigh. Okay, so am I going to make the shape of the chin area here a bit narrower, or am I going to leave it wide? I think I might just leave it like that. Maybe not. Maybe let's go in a bit more. Did I go off camera then? I am not sure. Maybe I did, sorry if I did. Just trying to do a bit more control where I go underneath there, because I don't want to chop the ears off at this point. So the face is starting to get rounder here now. Just needs a bit of tidying up by here. swear that's not there. Maybe not. Hanging in by a thread. So these ears are definitely going to be too big at this point. But again, you can cut them down a bit more now. Go. Same this side. There we go, we're in a bit further there now. Okay. One more cut there maybe. Tidy that up. I'm going to try and take this nose back a little bit now. So we're going to go to slight angle again. Take it back maybe a bit further than that, I think. That's a little better. Okay, so to define this a little bit more than what it is there now, you can take a gouge and sort of shape the nose just a little bit. As I said, just no, for now. Turn this upside down, make it easier, better for the camera. Just give it a bit of shape there. On both sides. Take a little off at a time. See how far you're getting. There we go, I don't want to take any more than that off yet. Bridge that nose a bit cleaner. So you can see that shape a little bit, that shape there now. Okay, so we're still going to take a line from here up through like that. We take more again off the side here. Bit more coming down. Go. And you can get a V-tool then. And go up alongside the edge of that nose. Now you can see now that you've got the face lines there coming down. Gives a deeper nose there now as well, because you've done that. And again, you can come in on the side here and do the same thing again, giving more depth to that nose. If you wanted, that is. If you don't, just take a little bit off the front. I'll come back to that in a second and talk about that. Is that balanced depth? Let's have a look. Could do with a little bit more each side, I think. Well, that'd be a test on the microphone. Can anybody hear that fly? I say that and he disappears. So you can see now where the jaw is taking shape. There. How it's gone inside around here. There's a little notch that you can take out on these, on the side here, to make it a bit deeper again. And you can come up alongside the nose here. I didn't really want to do this point, but it's gone into a bit more detail than I wanted to now. But taking that detail out of there, that piece of there gives it more detail, I meant. It's hard for me to see what I'm doing there. It's the camera angles. I'm getting it wrong. do them that way. There we go. And get it deeper than that again if you wanted to. How close up are we there? You can definitely go deeper than that. Right, but now you do have space now for this area here for the mouth. What you wanted to do, again, just give them straight looking face, smirky face with going one side, or you can just give them a bit of a smile and cut a hole in the side there and put a cigar in there, or cigarette and whatever you want to put in there, or maybe he's chewing a bit of straw. So you can then move on to the eyes, start giving some detail with the eyes and the eyebrows up here. If you wanted to use the eyebrows, maybe I won't bother with the eyebrows this time. I have in the past and some of them like that. Just sort of paint them black or dark grey first of all. Once you've notched out the eyebrows itself, just put a few notches in there. Depending how big you put them, whether you can do a bit more detail. Paint them after you've notched them out with maybe a V-tool or a knife. Paint them black, and then just wipe over the top of them when it's dry with a bit of white paint. And then that shows that black underneath and white on top. Okay, so next. We'll get these arms taken, shoulders, the top here, taken back a little bit, just to make the elbow pop out a little bit on the sides. So if you sort of had halfway between there and the shoulders and start taking that back a little bit. I do one side first and then the other. It'll give an idea of where we're going with it. You can see how that sort of helps the arm come out a little bit. If you compare that now to what the other side looks like. We could do this slightly here as well, but only slightly because the hand's going to take that down as well. So repeat that now, the other side. Go. Maybe a tad more a little bit more from here. There we go, that'll do for now. Get those curls out. So I'm going to start going back now in here, just trying to tidy that up a little bit neater in there from the marks or there previously that we took some out. This will help get those arms popping out to the side of the body a little bit more as well. Take your time on this bit because you can quite quickly take a lot off there, unwantingly really. And if you don't want to take too much out, you could always sand it down with some 60 or 80 grit paper first of all, and then come through with a higher number, 160 or even 320, and just take all those sort of rough drill bit marks out that were in there, because they will show when you go to paint it for sure. They'll all be fuzzy. Trying to stay on somewhere where the camera can actually see what I'm cutting away. It's not always that easy. Like I can see what's inside there now. You can probably see it now from that angle. I think I'm going to have to go with a smaller gouge, narrower. That's more like the finish we're looking for. As I make that slightly larger, it'll allow me to go to the bigger gouge that has a wider tip on it then. Is it better there now? Maybe I can get in. Not quite still, maybe. Almost. Anyway, I can try and do a bit of that off the camera and come back. I don't want to keep recording for 5 minutes, but I'm digging that out a little bit. At times it will take some time. Like I said, if you don't get it out neat, that will end up showing when you paint it. It'll end up being quite fuzzy. Okay. Next we're going to get these arms situated a bit more where we really want them to be. Made a bit of a mark down here, so you got like the 90 degree more or less of the elbow. And the same on this side, just coming up there and round. We're still going to be tidying up going in here as well, a little bit more. Not a lot, but a little bit more. And we'll take some more of this hat just to get down a little bit as well. So taking everything down a bit more scalable as we go along. Okay. So let's get some more of this off. leaving plenty in here for a minute until I sort of get these elbows in place and then decide whereby his hand's going to be. It's going to come down the side and then twist on the side there, or it's just going to come straight down there, leaving that bit till the end. Yeah, gives you a bit more chance then of getting where you want to be on the trouser, or just off the trouser if you wanted it to be. That's the arm coming up a little bit more there and there. I've left a pencil mark in there of where I want to put his belt. And on the front it'll be somewhere around here, coming up in the centre, and then back down the other side. Leave enough width here again to leave the wood on the belt, because again you can always go thinner, but it's more difficult to go wide, because you'd have to cut more of the wood away and start again, and you lose depth as you go through on the Cowboy, and this belly bay and this Cowboy. Okay, let's work a little bit on this hat. Again, you can do it with a knife, there's no doubt about that. It takes a little bit more skill to get that going. As a beginner and a novice, I still like to come in with the gouge and just take a little bit off the hat, like that. If you dig in here with the gouge, you'll have the appearance of the hat curling up, and then on the outside, watching your thumb if you're doing it this way. If you trim the edge all the way around like that, and then dig in there. It looked like the hat is curled up. You can have a flat hat, I mean, a bit like that, but again, if you go underneath, you can get that effect of it being thinner. Got to be careful you don't get too thin. There was a post the other day on one of the Facebook pages saying how to get this angle right to make sure it's nice and thick, but not something that's going to break off. Again, on this cowboy, he's got a bit of a curl in the back of his hat, and up the sides, you can see that there. Oh, on the Whittler video that I did, I got the hat coming up slightly around here, curved down the back there, but still went on the inside, taking a little bit out with a gouge to make the appearance of it looking a bit thinner. So take the gouge and get enough distance between the side of the hat and the rim or brim of the hat to use the gouge. Oh, that's a bit thick there. I really dug in then. And was going to carry on digging further and further in, going with the grain. So, I'll go up instead. I should now have a bit more room around there with the gouge. Might need to move to a smaller gouge to start this going, I believe. This one is too wide. Let's try this one. This is a Swiss made gouge. The bigger was a 910, but now this is the 8.7. Which I think is going to suit quite well. taking these small slithers off at a time. It seems like, you know, you're not taking a great deal off, but when you look at how much wood is there on the table, that soon gathers up after 5 minutes. A little bit of patience is all you need. And again, just controlling that gouge. Keep your hand underneath out of the way. And pushing the gouge forward. In small strokes. At the back of the hat, I'm going to get it to go flatter at the bottom. I'll use a knife for that. Again, I won't go all the way down there, but I'll keep a bit of a curl going on in that hat up there. So eventually we will come further down here and have quite an angle going down there. So this might come all the way up to here. Again, flat on the front. So when you look from the side, it'll curl up towards the centre part, and the centre part back down. It's easier for sure with a knife. You are going across the grain here, so it will take a bit of time. I just dropped the knife just before I started, as usual again today, so that knife is sharp. It might not look as if it's taken out a lot there, but when you're cutting across that grain, it can be very difficult. And unless your knife is quite sharp, that is going to be very difficult to take pieces out, even the gouge look. I'm not taking it all the way down yet because there's still work to do on the whole body. And the thinner you go on this, the more likely it is that you'll get small chips coming off the brim of the hat. So you can kind of finish this part off right late into the carving, even when the face is done and everything as well. We'll take a bit more off yet. There we go, that's getting a little bit closer to a shape of the brim of a hat. I'll show you again now from the front view. Don't forget, people, click like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Helps the channel out a little bit. I see a lot of stats that don't really mean a great deal to me at the moment, but some of them are saying that there's more people watching the video than there are subscribed, and it's telling me you are coming back as well. So would really appreciate any comments as well, positive or negative. You're not going to hurt me. Quite thick skinned, as I say. Tell me what parts you liked or what parts you think I could have done better. I'm still a beginner. Got a lot to learn yet, even though I've been doing it for 5 years. It's only the last month or two I really started taking it properly. So let's have a little look from the front. Take a little bit more slither up there. There we go. With that angle there, again, it's not finalised yet, for a fair bit yet to go. But that angle just gives a bit of definition to the shape of the hat. As I said, for now I don't want to go too far into it and make it too thin while I'm handling everything else, like pulling out all what's left of the jeans and the feet by ear. I don't want to be holding that and breaking it by chipping it. Okay, so to continue back underneath these arms for a little bit, I think. That one's going up at a decent height and angle. This one needs to come back in here a little bit, and this arm needs to be thinned down. His arm's been a bit narrower. So let's get a bit more of this off here. That glove. Bit of an awkward angle on that one. Maybe I will go back to the couch. Better. It's coming up there nicer. better. I still think this arm's going to have to come back again. Yeah, I'm liking that bit better. It's better. Narrow this arm down a little bit here as well. Define a bit more where the elbow's going to be, which I think will make a pencil mark around by here somewhere. So now you can concentrate a little bit more on being a bit of a dent through at where it's going to be. And then the same this side. Just pushing it through a little bit there. And this side. Okay, the feet definitely going to need a bit of work as well, so we can work on that a little bit as well at the moment, taking corners of the shoes or boots off. There's a fair bit to come off these yet. What we're going to do with these is they're obviously going to round off up and come down, and the jeans, as usual, jeans sort of come over the top or part of the shoe. So when you come in, where you put these jeans coming in here, the back of the shoe, the heel is back here, it's not forward, it's back there. If you have a little bit of a heel there, it doesn't have to be as much as that, but mark there and go in with the knife here. That'll define a little bit more. If you go in at an angle there, get that undercut, so it makes it look like as if there's more of a heel on the boot or shoe. Okay, but the shoe itself is going to come in a bit as well, so it's going to go backward than that. Something like what I wanted. Cool. And then the same on the inside. So you can mark these by just making a pencil mark all the way across. You know where you've gone. You can even put the pointer where the front of the shoe is there as well. Then give that little cut underneath that creates a bit of a sort of shade shadow underneath the boot. Thank you. Bit trickier on the inside, and I guess, I mean, well, everyone would even spot it there, but even if you just get a little bit of the mark in there, be careful when you're going in this direction, because it's quite easy to cut this, definitely on this piece anyway, at the bottom here. I don't know, it's really soft on you. I bet there's a technique of how to get in there better, but yet to discover that myself. The obvious one would be with a gouge. Just take a little bit off that way, and then you can come back in then with a knife that way. There we go, it's got a bit more shape to it now. It's still really big, really. Could come down an awful lot more if you wanted to. And that was the shoe part itself here. Now I like to have it so that the shoe is lower here than it is up there. So careful when you're going in this direction again. If that wood is really soft and brittle even, you try and force that, you could take the whole shoe off. So I tend to roll the knife down, curl the knife in there like that, and then just put the little stop cuts in there to tidy it up. There we go. It's easier to do when you're not trying to get the camera angle, but trying to make sure you guys can see how I'm curling that as well at the same time. Okay. At the moment, it's quite a wide jeans, yeah. Flares, as they would have been called, I'm guessing. You can have them skinny if you wanted to. He's got quite a flare on his one there. What have I got on this one? He's a bit longer legs and then just flares up and over the boot. And that's quite a common one to do. So again, with that, just roll the knife and curling it at the same time. Come right into the corner. Watch what you're doing with this finger here. Because if you catch that, that's more a stab. You could slice into that glove. So you want to get down the bottom, more or less, and where the jeans are going to be. You might show a little bit of the shoe, or the sole of the shoe at the bottom here. For example, just that little bit of the shoe, maybe like that one there, where you can just see the bottoms of the jeans come down to the front, and again there, and then you have the jeans can overlap slightly just to give it that more definition as well. Okay, so keep on curling that into there. I'll show you can see that angle. I'll lift it up now so you can see it. You can see the curl and the angle that's coming in there. You don't want these square at the ends either, so you've got to come off. Do the same then this side. We get the jeans coming down nicely. The bottom. A clean cut to the bottom there. But you can have the jeans so they wrinkle a little bit, where you could draw a line into it like that. Let's see if I can see on any of these ones. It's this one. And where it overlaps here. Just make a little V cut. In there like that. Sort of take it up at an angle, just to give it a bit more character or shape. Again, you can come back right towards the end and define these a little better. And have random little lines in there. You can even do it later on, and the jean coming down at an angle like that. And that's quite effective when you paint that. You can see the differences, but don't make anything even up there, just do it randomly as you go up. So let's go and mark that shoe in there before we forget. We've got a cutaway in that one yet anyway. On these, it's easier with these, I feel, to get a V-tool and just make the mark, just little. It doesn't have to be very deep. That's usually enough to define where the sole is going. When you paint that, it gives you the edge of the black bit or the darker brown bit at the bottom. If you go too obvious on them as well, I think it's a bit too obvious myself, but you could have had brown at the bottom, dark brown, and keep like a sandy medium brown there. What do they call that? Umber. So we carry on now, clean up this leg as well. You could get a larger gouge again and define more of a proper bell bottom on the jeans as well. Do that one as well now I started that. So once you've created that groove in there, you can then just narrow the rest of it down again then. There we go, they've had a bit more shape to them. Again, you can come back to that even more again if you wanted to, or even create the flare going in that direction there, take it in, and then let the legs come out even further to give them the legs like a skinnier look. A lot of these little things you can change, make a difference to your characters, save them all being exactly the same. Again, you can still use the B tool for doing the belt as well. Just to cut in a little bit to define the line, or use the knife and go around making a small incision one side, sort of going straight in. And then go on top of it, just making a nice little thin cutout. All the way around. So, starting to take a little bit more shape. We can tidy a few lines up at this point. Nothing's finished, but I would say you're definitely at the point now that it's completely roughed out there. You got the arm locations more or less where you want them to be. Same around the back. Still got a bit of cleaning up to do inside here. Ears to create, eyes to create. And that the best one, the hands. You can have the hands sitting on a belt if you'd fetch the hands further up, keeping the thumb above the belt, giving yourself plenty of room to get a bit of a curl if you could have. And then 3 or 4 fingers down here, and either again on the sleeve of the arm, you can either have it so he's wearing a glove and you keep the same colour as the hand, or you could paint the shirt with the cuff of the shirt and the collar. In this case he's got gloves, and in this case it's a shirt with a collar, a cuff. The collar's up there. Again, keeping the thumb over the top of the belt and the 4 fingers below, or in this case the thumb would be underneath the hand, so it's got a little mark here for the thumb, and then the big index finger pointing up towards his platinum star. So, looking at and reflecting on what we've got so far, I've penciled in some belt marks and a hand on this side where I think we'll put a hand into the pocket with his thumb just sort of staying out alongside it. And here I've just sort of whittled in a little bit of his few fingers. Nothing of any great detail, just sort of see where the location of them are going to be. The arm itself will still need some whittling down here to try and get that a little bit straight to there. So you're coming up to one elbow joint and not a square around here. If you see the squared part where the block of wood was originally. So we're going to try and get that so that's straight to there. But just taking a little bit away around the edge of this. As I keep saying, a little at a time. And then we'll take the arm up further here. By taking a little bit out of the top section of it, just to make the bottom section a little bit longer. That way then this part of the arm, the forearm, will come up another little bit more and take this part here out as well at the same time. Like that. Keep going until you get it a little bit straighter at the top up there. Go up a little bit further than that again. So now you can see that that's slightly straighter there now than what it was earlier on. Still take a little bit away from underneath here as well. Question, I wondered how many of my followers are actually Formula One fans. Eh? Would you support? What nation are you from? Nationality are you? Do you support your home people, or do you support other people for what they represent in the sport or their achievements? Or maybe you can tell me a little bit about where you watched it from when you were with your dad, or when you were a little boy and you just followed certain teams. Let me know. Stick something in the comments below for me to know. We'll see what you'll say before I give you my opinion on it. I like Formula One. I've always watched it since I was a little kid. Always used to be on a Sunday at lunchtime. And we used to have a Sunday roast, as we do here in Britain. Seems to be all over the world now with various different times, which sometimes is a little bit annoying because obviously the time differences, but it's good to see all the different countries getting involved in it and taking part in the sport though. So I usually manage to get up on time with less work commitments these days, etc. No biggie. bit of straightening on that arm as well, as you can see. It's still a lot wider than what that one is, but the hand's done on that, so let's get proportion size done on this side a little bit now as well. Now to keep his hand in the pocket, this is going to be the pocket, so I'm not going to take much out of that. I would literally be taking out part of the arm to make the arm lower than what the height of this pocket will be. So it'll come in something along those lines, and then taking out that little line like that, leaving that little bit of that pencil mark in there to show that the hand is in the pocket. I don't know how best to show you that on camera really. It's probably going to be better that I use a little bit of sandpaper on it and then show it to you again maybe. I'll see if I can get up close now with the camera and give you an idea of what's going on there. I don't want to make it too much, not just yet. Let's see how close up I can get from that angle maybe. So the hand here will be coming into the pocket there. Do you see this? So this part here will be lower than that. And then create a little triangle here. And that will make the pocket then be on the outside. Then the thumb can go round on top of what would be the trouser stroke belt there. Okay, so let's try and get that little triangle out here. Let's get a bit of this pencil mark off because that's not helping a little bit. Too much there. Then we'll come underneath the thumb in the end to make it a bit more depth. This is where you could go a smaller knife blade. Get those slightly better cuts in. A bit more precision. You could use a small V-tool, or they call the docking tools, if you have one. I'm going to make this thumb larger than what it needs to be for now, so I can always cut it back. And if it fails, it's no big deal. Just put the whole pocket in the hand, just take the thumb off. Literally cut the belt back, just down like that. Put the whole hand in the pocket. Like really speaking, I should have left a bit more wood on there. Make the thumb be over the top here. But let's see if I can still make it work. Take the belt back a little bit and make the whole cowboy slimmer anyway in a minute. And then leave a bit more depth there. Up, what will be up to the thumb. To get right in there a little better, you could get in there with a gouge as well and sort of be careful, but take it down to the thumb edge there. So you see it's gone down there, and that gives you a little bit more of the depth that you had originally from here to there. So you may have got 3mm there now between here and the height of that in depth. Taking out that little bit from the side of the cowboy, so trying to keep it in both sides the same. So I'll take a little bit off in there as well. Being careful not to take off any of your fingers. There's an accident. So that would not be good. You're trying to keep the depth there. So that's good. I think we could end up taking off a little bit more of the front here still. Or maybe I'll keep the arch on the back still there. Take his backside down here a little bit. Not sure. Either way, we can take a little bit of his rib sides there. And a little bit more of the front there. If there's any other cowboy carvers out there that would like to give me some tips, by all means leave the comments as well below. All gratefully accepted. Still a beginner, enjoying the hobby. There's some magnificent ones out there, you know, that really stunning. Some of the people there, can't believe myself that they've been doing it for 20, 30 years. When you look at the pieces, you just can't imagine. It's just awesome. Have you all seen Dusty? He was in one of the earlier videos I did. Buck Dusty McGraw, I believe it was. I'll leave a link maybe below, or you can check my channel out. He's on there. I think he's got a little short video as well. They all have stories as well. They link into each other. Most of them come back and forth to the sheriffs. I think there's only one of the sheriffs that I've made so far that have actually been released. The other one will be coming out soon. Again, they all link to each other. So there we go. Let's have a look. Now we've got a bit more depth there. Make a bit of a mark around the pocket there. This one has definitely got some kind of split coming up in there. Didn't see that coming through. Definitely see it lifting now and again. Okay, so we got a bit more depth to the pocket there. A bit more of an angle on his hand going in the pocket. There. As you get closer to the hand there, the fingers will have a bit more depth to it, just like the pocket does here. If you remember, a minute or two ago we did have a belt here. That's now long gone. But we can pencil that back in if you wanted to at this point again. I think we can do a little bit of work now at his sides here. This one is obviously a little bit smaller than this, so I'm going to take a few shavings of that off. Still plenty to go on that. Back into this one needs to come down. Take some off there for now, but it will come right down in the end, just like we have done in the past. Leave plenty on there for now and then just work at it until you gradually get things down. Even things like his hat here. Be careful with this if you're trying to do the hat there. It's very easy to have your thumb in the way there and slip and slice your finger, although I mean, you try and make a stop point, like my finger there could stop it from coming over, or tuck your thumb slightly under, so it'd be very difficult for you to get anywhere near with the knife. Again, if you've got a gouge, you can make a V tool to go straight through there, or like I've got now with the gouge in my hand. Just to take a little bit of mark in there for now. The eyes we can start to work on as well. So this will be what will be the eyelid. This one will be coming right down, and the bottom part of the eyelid will be down here. So you can put the eye in here a little bit as well. Where do we work on next? Got the back of the hair to do up there. A little bit of marking around the back here for the belt. You could make two belts, by the way. You could put a belt just sort of holding his trousers up, and then maybe put a gun belt going around the side at an angle. I generally have one belt at the moment in most of mine, just because I'm not able to get that amount of detail into the wood yet, as some of you carvers have been out there for 20-30 years carving, but I'll get there. So we can do a little bit of cleaning up around this eye, just to make it somewhat more presentable. There's a lot of wood just breaking off up here at the moment, but we will get it so that the sort of eyes come down the side there like that, keeping the top eyelid a little bit longer, coming out the side. A little bit of that will still come off, say that much more that will come off again, but it's there for now. But a little go up there with the gouge. I'm not going to do this for now, but you could take that up there and that'll shorten that quite easily. Or like you've got in this little one here, you can see both marks of the eyes there. Just check it zooming in nicely for you there. Then you've got the eyeball in the middle. Oops, sorry, my bad. So what will happen is the depth of this needs to go down, and where this knife point is. It's getting it down at the right angles. There are special cuts here that most of them are making, which I believe would be small cuts, such as going straight across there like that. I hope this is still on the video screen for you to see. Then another cut down here. That chip in there then can come out. Still very much a bit of a mess in there, but it will tidy up as time goes past, you know. Taking that out of there, gives you that bit more depth to the ends in the corner. The same this side, in there, by there, take a tiny chip there, out to the corner. Make the eyelid there with a very small mark. Take a little bit from underneath it there, and then just keep on working on that coming down. Make the undercut underneath it, and then go back over to take it out. Back around once more. And undercut that. Not sure if you're getting that on the camera. Was that a better angle for you guys to see? So well, these small chips are just staying in there. They're not attached. They're just jammed. It's not attached to anything. There we go. So you just keep on. See if I can get that focus a bit better there. There you are, you can see it, okay. That's the way you make this little mark coming around here. You can see the chip has come off there. I'm not hardly doing anything to the wood there at all, and it's just all breaking away. And it's not the knife. The knife is extremely sharp. Right, so let's get the other eye put in as well. Going straight in there, and then coming back in at an angle, just go underneath there, just to get that thin slice there out. There's some detail in there now. We will come back and make a bit more later on as the carving progresses towards the final stages. But I won't go into too much more than that for now. Taking in that little corner to take the triangle out next to the nose. I'll give it a bit more depth. There we go. We'll come back later and get more detail in there again. Right, let's mark this belt in. Somewhere down here. Up and round, back here. It's already coming around here. Just going to change the angle of that. Get rid of those markings, not to confuse anything. Put a little mark there just to hold this belt up. Another one maybe there, and maybe there somewhere. Let's clear this front up here. Oh, just realised I'm not wearing a glove. I didn't cut myself with a knife. If that's what you're wondering there. I just got something underneath my nail. I pulled out and it's bleeding just a little bit. So, belt mark. Put a belt buckle in here somewhere. Leave plenty of space for now. And take his ears down a little bit right now as well, while we're at it. Let's take the centre of the ear down. Even a little bit in the middle for the depth there. Now we're going back far enough. Let's have a look. Maybe more or less even. Maybe this one is a bit further back than what that one is. No, I don't know. About the same. Change that to a different V tool. We're not going to get into too much detail yet with the ears, especially as I'm a beginner myself. I'm not going to try and teach something that I'm not good at. But just if you leave a little bit on there, that's what I tend to do for now, until I progress in my stages of learning. And then there'll be enough meat on the bone, as they say. Leave the wood on there for now. We will shape a little bit later on again, but for now, just get it down a bit like that. So, the centre of the ear there. And then I'm going to go with something that will be the outer ring there. There. So you've got one little piece in the middle, centre there. Here. And then you've got another outer ring here. This would be the edge then of the ear itself. Tighten that up a little bit. Up there. Around there. Then you can go around the side then. Taking the ear up a little bit that way. In direction. And again up in the corner. Up there. Not necessarily rounding off the ear yet. Again, like the rest of the carving, we'll come back in and put a bit more detail once we get a little bit more roughed out. Try and get this a little bit flatter to match the other side. Quite big ears at the moment, but like I said, we'll come back and whittle them down a little bit again in a little bit. Get some of the shavings out of my way. Let's have a go at this belt along here. So let's run the V-tool on the top part of his belt there. You can make the belt narrower a little bit later on, but for now, let's just keep the pencil line on there. Missing the buckle. Go down underneath that buckle for now. And above it, pencil line up there. To the back. That up a little bit just to sort of tidy it and clean it up. Keep that corner of the buckle in there so I don't lose it. Cool. Make a bit more shape, I think, now on this pocket here. Smoothen things out a little bit. There we go. Let's get that in a little bit more. Difficult to see that there at the moment, but it really will pop out, as they say, a little bit more when you actually get paint on it. Let me show a little bit what happens with a bit of water on it. Might be able to see it a little bit better. Sometimes it works. If the camera pokes in enough. I'm not sure it captures it or not there. Try and steady that camera again. So the hand is inside that pocket, as I mentioned. So let me sure the angle of the hand go into it like that as well. Where else are we going? Mouth. Let's get with a slight angle on there for now. Getting in quite deep, but a cut that is quite thin to give you that perception of depth in there. And then on the outside you can either use a small gouge, you can use a knife, a smaller knife, and then go opposite to where the mouth cut is. This wood is just chipping away terrible. It's too soft. Get a V-tool, smaller, where's that smaller one go? It's terrible. Try and create a little bit of a lip there. Again, I'm not going to put too much detail just yet. Just like the rest of the carving, just take a little bit stage closer each time. And then the same the lip above the lip. You're creating like a very shallow V shape in there. And we'll finish that off later on with different cut marks on there as well. Where you'll end the mouth sort of here, each side, rather than they come all the way to the end there. Just getting the mark out a little bit better. We can take these eyes out a bit further as well, especially the top eyelid. And on this side a little bit also. Then you can give them the crow's feet look then by taking another deep but narrow mark out of the wood there. Bit like that. Okay. we can do a little bit of work on the top of that hat, the back of the head here. Can have some V marks coming down. So if you come along the bottom, just to make a general line where his hairline's going to be. Don't make it straight all the way around. Give it some angles. Don't make it too like 90-degree marks or anything. Just give it a bit of a curve or a bit of a wave up and down sort of effect. And you can make, so if you make the lines one up and one then one down, once I like to do, sort of leave a gap in between them and just make the ones going down first, or the opposite, doesn't matter which one you do first. Just do one side and then go back in and do the opposite direction. Or you can get a little bit more complicated with this as well and set sort of curvy lines that every other one, and they curl away from each other and towards each other and get it complicated, but that will be quite effective when it's painted as it is there now. So again, where the bottom of the hairline could go, take a little bit of the head out there now, so you can define the bottom of what is the hairline. Okay, so there you've got a small space that you've created, and then again go in there with the V tool. Creating some little V marks randomly all the way along the bottom. And again, that then creates a different sort of shape to the back of the head there. We have the cowboy that's fairly much done now. It's for a beginner's sort of process. I'm sure there could be lots you could tweak again, but we've got this hat down quite a bit there now. Final bits I want to try and get on there. That in there a bit more. The eyes have done what I did just do, was put in a few little lines in there, just so I can make some sort of eyebrows out of it. Okay. So I can steady that camera again. We got his belt highlighted still. And we got his feet. Well, we've got the soles of his feet separated. Take that back a little bit maybe. So they point in further backwards. Like so. Tidy and clean up a few areas as we go along now. Okay, let's clean some of this off the belt. Don't leave any pencil marks on there. So if you're going to use acrylic paints, watered down to start with, that pencil line will still come through. So guys, if you've got any questions at all, as I said, I'll do the best I can to answer them. I'm still a beginner, as I keep on saying, but just goes to show the beginner, you can still get to this stage. And I did mention earlier in the video, I know, that just because you're a beginner doesn't mean you can't have the Cowboy made. You can still do it, as I just said again, to this point, and still paint it, but there's no reason why you couldn't come back to it at a later date and take a few corners out here and there and improve it now and again once you get your new skills that you might have learned. We might be staring at it one day in the corner of your eye and think, well, I need to get that thumb sticking out a bit more. How am I going to achieve that? And you might have spotted something in the video somebody's done, thinking, let me give that a go. And just work on that. It's all about leaving a little bit of wood on there, like the ears. He looks okay, he's got a ear. He'd be alright. Does he look great? No, not at all. But it's one of those things that I'm still yet to be happy with. So leave the wood on there. Give it some depth. It might look okay for now. But then when you come back to it and you've learnt that skill, the wood is there for you to continue. Again, a lot of people will say, don't touch it. Leave it as it was. You know, it'll show in 2 years' time or 2 months' time, depending on how much time you're spending on the hobby, how much you actually progressed. And by not changing it, your new carvings will show the difference between the old and the new. I've done some like that. Sometimes I haven't done it. I've gone and picked it up and thought, no, I like that as it is. I just need to do a few tweaks here and there. And that's how it goes, especially if you're doing multiple ones of them, like I've done maybe a dozen of these Cowboys now. Could I repeat one exactly the same again? No. Do I want them to be all exactly the same? No. So, change them up a little bit. Give them bigger ears, bigger eyebrows, bigger eyes, bigger noses, different shape noses. It's all about enjoying yourself. All about enjoying yourself. So we could give him a shirt. It goes around there. Like so. Or if you wanted to, instead of having the shirt there, you could leave a line going down the centre still, or so you've got an idea of where you want to centre the shirt here. Instead of having the shirt, give him a little scarf or bandana, or all you need for that is maybe a V-tool, or again, stick with a knife if you wanted to. Start with making some rings around here. Like so. As you're doing these like this, again, they don't have to be perfect lines coming down. They can be one that goes across a little bit, more than halfway, and then curl back when it does come down pretty much all the way, turns around. But what you do want to do is have each part lower than the previous part. And that will create the illusion that he's got a bit of a scarf around his neck. Bit like so. There's one leather legs Lawson. It's got a scarf here, and you can tie them at the back with different colour knots, etc. So you still have that coming around the back of the neck. Like so. And then create a knot by coming in from both sides like so, and cross it over. Just tie one side to the other. And there you can see created the knot at the back. He's tied his scarf at the back. He's pretty much done now. Hope you all enjoyed this video, or this series. I know I've had a bit of fun myself. It was somebody that requested me to do a full body one, and it's the first one I've been talking to you guys on as well. Let me know if you think I need to alter the sound a little bit in any way, if you guys think it needs to be a bit louder, etc. Let me know, please. Write in the comments below. Thank you very much for everyone who's followed me through with all of these. And we'll move on now to the next project. Much appreciate if you can click the like button, subscribe, share on social media if you could. No big deal if you can't, but it does help me keep the channel out there for YouTube to know that people are watching and like the content. The algorithm, as they say. But what certainly helps, guys, is watching the video through to the end as well. So even if you haven't got the time in the first time, maybe you could just let it run in the background and then come back and watch it again then, maybe at a later time. That way then it'll still count as the time that you have watched the video itself. Okay, we'll run this down the centre just to create centre of the shirt. Like so. In the centre of the buckle. Again, with a bit more time, you could certainly make that a lot smaller, a bit more intricate. But again, just as a beginner type of thing, I think that's more than good enough for any beginner to give themselves a target to get to. And then as you do more, you can change a few more things and upskill your work. So I'll get this painted and get a picture of it on the end of the video, rather than create a separate one now, just for that, like the last one. I'll just add some photos at the end here, with it all done. Okay. Thanks again, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.